Cooler weather has arrived, and it's usually around this time of year that my patients start asking me for moisturizer recommendations for cold weather and for dry skin. So here are my picks. I'm Dr. Sam Ellis, and I'm a board-certified dermatologist. I'm here to help you understand your skin and to find skincare products that work for you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. The whole concept of changing up your skincare seasonally really is going to vary based on your skin and where you live. But in the winter, what I often find is that their skin feels thirsty, and that's because cold air does not hold on to as much moisture, so your skin is naturally going to be dried out being in that environment day after day. The other thing is you're also exposed to indoor heating a lot of the time, and indoor heating also kind of strips the air of its natural moisture, especially if you're not using a humidifier. So it just makes your skin more prone to dryness. And that's why a lot of people want a thicker, more occlusive, just a little bit more of a yummy moisturizer to put on their face during the winter time. That being said, you absolutely do not have to change up your moisturizer or your skincare routine based on the season. You have to give your skin what it wants and needs. And if your skin feels fine doing the same routine year round, that's absolutely okay too. For example, I find that I don't necessarily need to increase the creaminess or the richness of my moisturizer during the winter time, but I do like to moisturize twice a day during the winter when normally I would just moisturize once a day. So sometimes it's not just about shifting your products, but shifting how you're using them in your skincare routine. So without further ado, let's get into the products. What you'll notice is a lot of the products have the same types of ingredients. Good moisturizers tend to have three main categories of ingredients. They have humectant ingredients, emollient ingredients, and occlusive ingredients. Humectant ingredients draw water into the outer layers of the skin, and it can do that sort of in two ways. One, it can pull water from the deeper layers of the skin to the surface, and if there is moisture in the air, like humidity, it can actually pull water from the air into the top layers of the skin. And those types of ingredients are things like glycerin, hyaluronic acid, lactic acid, and urea. Emollient ingredients I really think of as texture enhancers because they smooth the surface of the skin. Ingredients like squalane, dimethicone, rapeseed oil, or just any plant oils, cocoa butter, those are all emollient ingredients. What's kind of interesting about emollients is they often also have some occlusive properties, which I'm about to talk about. Occlusives are the final category of moisturizing ingredients, and they really serve a protective barrier function. They are like the seal on the surface of the skin to prevent transepidermal water loss or just increase moisture loss from the skin. Occlusive ingredients are often the ingredients that will make a product feel quite thick or heavy or even greasy, and those are things like petrolatum, lanolin, waxes, and silicones. So, as you might imagine, there will be a lot of overlapping ingredients in the products I'm about to talk about. When you are trying to find a moisturizer that works well for you, so much of it is not about the ingredients themselves, but the formulation, how it plays with your skin, and how it plays with the other products that you have in your routine. And so it's very hard to tell someone, yes, 100% this moisturizer is going to work for you. Sometimes there's trial and error involved. My first winter moisturizer that I think is wonderful is the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Firming Collagen Cream. This bad boy is just amazing. This cream is quite thick, but it has just this very slight moussey texture, not fully whipped, but it's enough that when you put it on, it doesn't feel immediately heavy, but you can tell like, this is rich. If you've used First Aid Beauty's Ultra Repair Cream, which is sort of like a body and face cream, this collagen-based one has a little more smoothness to it, so it feels a little more cosmetically elegant to use on the face, and I think it's just like an awesome nighttime moisturizer, especially for winter. Next up, I have the Allies of Skin Peptides and Antioxidants Firming Daily Treatment. I know a lot of people are looking for nighttime, occlusive, thick, greasy options for winter, but I also wanted to give a daytime option because I think it's really important that you are able to moisturize your skin during the day and don't feel like you're using a moisturizer that's weighing your skin down. I have found this product to layer so well, not only with my other serums, but also under makeup and not sort of break up my products over the course of the day. So if you're looking for a daytime option, this is great. That's not to say that the other moisturizers that I mentioned during this video can't be used during the daytime as well. I just find that when I'm putting makeup on, I want something that's sort of going to grip my makeup products and almost act like a primer, which this I feel does very well for me. Whereas sometimes I feel like other moisturizers are a bit too heavy or a bit too greasy and things are just gonna slip right off. I also want to acknowledge the fact that I recognize that this is not a cheap moisturizer. However, I do find that it has has a lot of sort of bonus ingredients. It has vitamin C, it has a couple of really good peptides in it, it has some brightening agents, it has niacinamide. So it's not just a moisturizer in my mind. And I actually think if you are a minimalist and you just want to put on like one thing under your sunscreen and then be out the door, this serves that purpose too. Next up on my winter moisturizers list is the Tatcha Indigo Overnight Repair Serum and Cream Treatment. I actually was never going to try this because it is a little bit spendy, but I got it sent to me when I made like a big purchase order from Sephora. So I had a sample to use for a couple of weeks and it's really good. I think out of all the moisturizers I'm talking about today, this one feels the most luxurious on the skin. It goes on so silky and smooth and it doesn't really feel heavy, even though it feels incredibly hydrating on the skin. Also, as someone who has sensitive skin and is rosacea prone, I was a little apprehensive to try it, but it said that it had calming properties and I really felt that when I put it on. Like my skin felt soothed. So obviously I have a lot of moisturizers in my stash because of my job and what I do, but I'm really tempted to buy this because it was great when I was using it. And when it's sitting there on your shelf, it's so beautiful, like you want to use it. It calls to you. And that's the other part about using a moisturizer is you have to do it regularly to see the best benefits. And some of that is just having a skincare item that inspires you to want to use it. And for this Tatcha product, like I'm all in. I want it every day. I definitely wanted at least one drugstore option in this. And I actually could make a whole video just on great drugstore moisturizers. If you guys want that, put it in the comments below. But the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Gel Cream is a wonderful moisturizer, both for winter and I really think for year round. Because this is a gel cream formulation, it still is very moisturizing, but it has a lighter weight texture. So I particularly like this for people who have oily skin, but still feel like their skin is dehydrated. And you absolutely can have oily skin that lacks water, especially in the winter. But if you have oily skin, you might not want to reach for like a thick, creamy, rich moisturizer. And that's where a gel cream like this Neutrogena one is perfect. My final facial moisturizer before I go into sort of some body face overlap creams is the Kiehl's Ultra Facial Moisturizer. And this one will always hold a very special place in my heart because I pretty much exclusively used this moisturizer during the winter when I lived in Colorado during my intern year. This Ultra Facial Cream also sort of falls in the category of could be used day or night or both because it is a quite light texture while still being very rich and moisturizing. So it is one of those products where I was able to layer my makeup on over it and not have any issues with it melting off during the day. I also loved wearing this moisturizer when I was going to be out skiing for the day. In the morning, I would put the moisturizer on, follow it up with sunscreen, and then I would be out on the slopes all day long. Wind, UV light from the sky, UV light reflecting off of the snow. And at the end of the day, my skin was still doing pretty well. It didn't feel overly stressed. My rosacea flares were kept at a minimum. And that is a testament both to the value of sun protection, but also the ability for this moisturizer to just lock in hydration into my skin so that my skin didn't feel depleted, even when it was under a lot of environmental stress. So all of those moisturizers are pretty much marketed for facial use. Yes, you absolutely could use them on your body, but you would go through it so fast. But the other thing people often will ask me is, can I use a body moisturizer on my face? And you totally can. So I did want to just mention a couple of body moisturizers or ones that are sort of marketed as body moisturizers that absolutely can be used on the face and make great facial moisturizers too. The first moisturizer I wanted to give like a legit shout out to is the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Cream. I have used this moisturizer for so many years. It's always one that I reach to and go back to. And when I travel, I will often put some of this in like a little jar so that I can use it on my face and body to just simplify my routine. I also have found that just in my dermatology practice that my teenagers with eczema love this cream. And I don't know if it's just because it's more of a beauty brand than sort of like a drugstore brand and it feels more exciting to put on, but for whatever reason, the compliance with applying this particular moisturizer in my eczema patients is amazing. Speaking of drugstore moisturizers, I don't think I could make a winter moisturizer video without mentioning the CeraVe moisturizing cream. CeraVe is pretty much the most well-known for incorporating ceramides into their formulations, hence the name CeraVe. But this cream is just a great blend of humectants, emollients, and occlusives, and I find that it is just incredibly user-friendly. Like, it's very rare that I find someone who can't get benefit from using this cream. I also love that it comes in a jar that has a pump on top. I think that increases compliance. For me, there's something about like dipping my fingers into like a big tub that I don't love. So having the pump on top just makes me want to use it. This is another one of the moisturizers I travel with the most because it can be used on face and on body. And if you're just looking for a great all-around, no-nonsense moisturizer for the winter time, this is it. What is your favorite winter moisturizer? Make sure to tell me in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.